Sandy says, yeah, amazing episode with Cliff. Stay tuned for more, she says. Let me see if we can bring this up. There you go. And for you guys as well, if you want to follow along here, if you go to Cliff High's Substack, you'll see his latest video from May 7th. It's indeed titled Self-Revealing Noodle Twist. So you don't want to miss that, as well as the video that he linked below with Michio Kaku, who's talking about this data that came from the Voyager probe. We'll get into that in just a moment, but if you guys want to go and bookmark those two videos here, you're probably going to want to watch that on repeat a couple of times to get to the crux of the matter. All right, Janine, 40,000 foot pool, what do we have?
Okay, so we've got the Three of Pentacles here, which is like groups working together, like building a foundation. There's a secure foundation with this card. And then we've got the 10 of Cups, which is like an illusion. Okay, so secure foundations, things we think are built on secure foundations. I feel like things are going to be outed that we thought were secure. Like maybe not this group, maybe some of the things we think are secure even in this group. Okay, so I'm going to say in the world, some foundations are going to be taken out from under people unexpectedly. Some truth, some woo truth on things that long were held as that's the foundation of something. And that actually makes sense to even Cliff's info, because he's talking about the difference between the gritology and the, what's the other one?
Ontology.
Ontology.
Yep.
And that really what we just saw there, the cards move it towards ontology being the way it really is. Right. Yep. What I got in my quick pick. And of course, that's been a long time. This community's kind of known that Cliff was right about the ontology being different than the gritology and it being more accurate, really. Absolutely. So that might even be one of the things. There might be other things, but the whole grid of what we thought was true about the world and how we thought it was and the time frame we're on and just the way time works, everything, it's all coming down. So I feel like in the big picture, in the big events coming in the next few months, more of that structure really crumbles, and we see what's been a lie and what's truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fool card says, like a lot of people are going to be, jaw drop moments for a lot of people on what's coming. Okay. Right. And then this Four of Swords, so hidden information. We've got the 6, so a lot of hidden information coming out and a lot of alliances being revealed. So who's working with who? You thought these two were enemies, really they're working together. That's something a lot of this community's already been speculating on. Like for a long time, I've thought that the Ukraine guy, the president of the Ukraine, and also the Russian guy, they were working together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're all it's not what you think it is. Right.
It's starting to look like Trump and Carney were working together all along. They're big buddies now. And apparently during the campaign, we're in crisis. Oh my God, we have to fight Donald Trump. And that's not what we saw at the first meeting there in DC with Carney and Trump. Quite to the contrary. Yeah. Okay, so more exposure of that. The who's playing what, the game being played here. Okay. Yeah. All right. A new pope is an American. Yes, that's in the live chat as well. Why don't we start there, Janine? So, we'll get into the Epstein here very briefly because, again, none of this is news to our community, but there might be a few pieces there that are still of interest. Of course, the Prince Andrew thing, some of the royal advisors now admitting to that, caught on tape. I thought that was interesting. It's just validating the stuff that we've been saying before. But again, it's making the rounds now a little bit more mainstream for people. And this drop here on Pam Bondi. So I'll get into that in just a moment. Let's go back to the Pope, though. So the CBC were reporting earlier today, the recap there. It's the first American Pope. And interestingly enough, we had in the last, I guess, week or two, all the memes about Trump being the Pope. So that back to back seems to be telling us here that perhaps there's something where America is in control of the Vatican, or at least this seems to be going that way here too after the conclave. We did a poll earlier today on the viewer questions for the audience members. If you haven't seen that, go check it out on beyondmystic.net. But for here, Janine, can we do just a blank poll on what we need to know about this new Pope? Where it goes, if there's anything special we need to know. Is he going to be long-lived? Is he going to be presiding over the implosion of the Catholic Church? Is he going to be presiding over presumably this self-revealing ontology here that's going to change the face of our religion, religions, plural, here on the planet? So his name, of course, Cardinal Robert Prévost, very French name here. Again, the first American Pope. Interestingly enough, Janine, what do we need to know?
Wow. Okay, so see that card again? So illusions, being we're being shown that certain things are an illusion, and this guy's here to bring in like some knowledge about what's really going on in the Vatican. I think what's been hidden and not talked about, and the elephants in the room there. If you just even look around the Vatican building, so have a little look at the reception room where the Pope often speaks from, and even the sculpture behind him, it's demonic. So from the front, you might not see it. It looks like kind of a figure on a cross, but coming apart, almost like exploding, really. But from the side, you see that it's a reptilian. And the whole thing is very deviously done, but with anyone who's looking for it, they'll see it. Mm-hmm. Also, the whole shape of that entrance room, that reception room, is literally shaped like a great big serpent's head, has serpent eyes to it. And if you get the right shot, it's absolutely a serpent. So spell casting and double speak all over the Vatican. There you go. Yeah, it's just unbelievably right in your face. And I feel like this Pope's going to usher that in to some degree. They'll be faking it at first, like, oh, everything's great. There'll be at least 2. This could be weeks, where this could be months. This could be weeks, but it's not that long. Things will start coming apart at the seams here. This card's like a lot of things coming apart at the seams in a whole bunch of directions. They're going to use this guy to bring in a lot of truth. So just keep watching for comms. This is the world population, like the deception that how they've deceived the world populations. I feel like it comes down with this guy, and I'm giving it maybe till 8, so the 8th month, maybe 8 weeks, where you'll really start to see it. But I don't think he's going to be around long. I think that calm with Trump as the Pope and then having an American Pope is absolutely that Trump and the White Hats are in charge. I think that's exactly what it's saying. Yeah, we're going to see this is a big strategy. They placed him there, and the strategy even of having the American Pope, it's all part of the comms. Oh, I can't hear you, Jean-Claude.
Sorry, my dog was barking. It definitely looks that way, but can we do a clarifier here to see if this new Pope now is in collaboration with the White Hats? Is he standalone, working for the Vatican and towards their own objectives? Or is this more aligned with the war, so to speak, on the White Hat side of things?
We might need the whole deck for that, because the Emperor was taken up there, and I think we might see that in there.
Okay.
Okay, so who's this guy? Is he like White Hat? Is he still part of the deep state? Like, where's his affiliations? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah. Who's he working for here? So Pope Leo the 19th, no, Pope Leo the 14th, named the first American leader of the Catholic Church, the one and only Cardinal Robert Prévost. So who's he aligned with, Janine?
Well, he's definitely a deep state Pope.
Mm-hmm. You got that earlier today, the same card.
Yeah, he's a deep state guy. And we've got the Chariot in the past. Chariot, like there's sort of a riskiness to that Chariot and fast moving. It's interesting how fast they chose him. Remember the last time it took days, I think.
Yeah.
And this was really short-lived.
Yeah, it was a short-lived conclave.
So we've got the Page of Pentacles here in the middle between, but the Four of Pentacles, I wonder if he's being forced. I wonder if his hand is forced to do this. I think they're walking of shame with this guy. I think they've got him kind of hands tied, and he's, for his own protection, he has to say what they tell him. So I wouldn't go as far as to say he's capitulated. I feel like he still really wants to call himself he's on the bad guy side. He still thinks the bad guys are okay. Like I got this feeling that I wouldn't call him all the way capitulated, but he might feel like he has to do this to protect himself or something he's protecting. And this is interesting. We've got the Empress there. So we've got the Deep State card and the Empress card, and this card can be about royalty. I even think this guy's really high up in the Deep State. I feel like he's probably more important than they're letting on, and he might be, as far as the Deep Staters, he might be quite high up in that that system. I think we got ourselves a real high up Deep Stater, and they're going to walk of shame him.
I'm just trying to do the math. They announced the Pope was dead on April 21st on Easter Monday. So 7 days, 14 days. Somebody was pointing out that between the death and the naming of the new Pope, there's actually 17 days. So, yeah, that appears to be correct there. I'm just doing the math quickly here, doing this live. Isn't that interesting, Janine? Again, the codes are all in your face there. Okay. Yeah. So doing the walk of shame and, so doing the bidding here of the white hats, and there's a tag on this with the 17. And, of course, all of the Trump memes in last week seem to be pushing in that direction. So we have... This is what they wanted. Yeah. Okay. Twist your noodle. For a lot of the newbies, what are you guys talking about? Nothing. Go back to sleep. It's all good. Okay. So let's go back quickly on the Epstein stuff. So again, if you haven't watched the other episode, go check it out. Nothing new to us except now some not really whistleblowers, but confidants of the royal
insiders,
family.
Insiders.
Yeah. People who've know the matter, know these people personally, raising his kids and all that stuff. So they're saying now that Prince Andrew lied to them when he said that he wasn't involved with Epstein and what was going on the island. And now these people are saying no, in fact, Prince Andrew was lying. So yeah, so you can see that from the title. So there's that, guys. Make it of what you want. Again, this is not what most of our community is looking for. Most of our community is looking for, well, if Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of trafficking children, we want to know who was hurting the children. So where the hell is that, right? Yep. And so this is the issue now that's been gnawing at the Trump administration. He had promised to reveal the Epstein list on day one of his presidency. We're way past the inauguration day 2, and we're still not here. And we've been hearing rumors, suggestions that perhaps the FBI originally were refusing to give Pam Bondi the information. She eventually had to force their hand. This was 2 months ago. And now there's rumors that perhaps she is also involved in some of the cover-ups. That's what Alex Jones was saying yesterday on his show, that he got that from his own sources. But let's hear this latest drop. We haven't played this on the show here from James O'Keefe. Actually, let me just change slide deck to make sure we have the audio for the audience on that one. Yeah. Let's play this one here, and we'll come back and we'll try to pull some cards on this as well.
States Pam Bondi was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, the existence of tens of thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist. What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. FBI's been.
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case, but they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids. Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our reporter sent the AG's office the text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant, language that we shared with her press office.
There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know. And this one raises serious questions. On one hand, why did our country's highest law enforcement official share this information first, not with the American people, but with a self-described nanny at brunch? But more importantly, why was this information held back in the first place? Does this show that a government apparatus is still working behind the scenes to protect powerful people involved in the scandal? Based upon the response to our Epstein story yesterday, it's clear that the American people want answers, and they want accountability.
Well, I'd like some answers. I want accountability, but there's some confusion with this statement. So there's a couple of things we need to unpack here. He's right. Why is she saying that in a public restaurant to, just a random person who's apparently a nanny? So it kind of looks weird. It kind of looks like a setup or a plant. We'll get into that in just a moment. I'm not sure where this is going. So too did the interview with the royal also, who is now spilling the beans on Prince Andrew. It seemed very much contrived, in my opinion. So We'll see where this is going. But here at the restaurant, she says tens of thousands of videos with children. So in the restaurant, she doesn't mention Epstein himself. Here at the press conference later on May 7th, Epstein with children and child porn. So they're redirecting here, at least it appears that she's redirecting to focus those tens of thousands of videos with Epstein himself, but not these other people who presumably Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell would have trafficked those children to. So again, avoiding mentioning anybody else in that context. So there seems to be a weird cover-up, but on one hand, it appears to be contrived to bring this conversation up for us to discuss and for us to be aggravated and frustrated once again for not having any answers. Okay, so have I made sense in that? Okay, so your first thoughts before we pull the cards here. What's going on with this latest data dump, if we want to call it that? Like, what's the plan here? What's going on, Janine?
It makes no sense she would have said that in a public place. It makes zero sense to me. And then to repeat it because she was caught out, probably she found out they recorded it, or it was all planned, one of those two things. She repeats it to the public now and then adds the words Epstein. It also makes no sense to me that only Epstein's the only one with the little kids. And he's recording his own self with little kids over and over. Does that
Yeah.
even make sense?
No.
You know, he's smarter
Well-
than that. He was bribing people with this stuff. So can't
Yeah.
just be him on those videos.
No. So here's a thought,
Yeah.
and I want you to pull on this one.
Yeah.
Here's how my brain worked, and we'll see. Maybe I'm totally off base. Maybe Pam Bondi has a lot of pressure right now, and for some reason, she thinks this is not moving fast enough. And maybe she set up that whole interview herself to kind of leak it in the way to where James O'Keefe would have to call her on it, to where she would now be forced to give an official statement about this to save the agency's ass. But really, she was just trying to move the dial forward because maybe somebody is pushing the brake pedal on her and she wanted to change the game. Is that what just happened, Janine? Do you understand where I'm getting at?
Yeah. I think you might be onto something. We'll look deeper into it, but this one flew out. I don't know if you guys saw that. And I just picked it up. It's the Two of Cups, which is backdoor deals, insider trading, and or like that kind of card. Okay, so her and the Veritas guy, I think they're in on this. And so that would lend itself to what you just said.
Okay.
Okay, let's keep looking here. Make sure we got that.
Yeah.
So what's really going on there? Was that authentically her caught off guard and saying
because once she has an official media question, she says, well, I can't ignore this. They're going to print. We have to answer this. And she can go to her superiors and say, we have to protect the agency here and come out with this before that comes out and blah, 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 right? So she kind of forced somebody's hand. It feels that way. But
I think you're absolutely right. See that? She's up against a lot and she was pushing really hard and couldn't get it to shift. and boom, we've got, and this is them. So this is the agency not forthcoming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this was I think she brought it to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the guy himself there, the Veritas guy.
Yeah,
that could be O'Keefe. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we've got the star in the background. So she's put in a difficult, it's vulnerable. She's vulnerable. And we saw this earlier. We looked at it and it looked like she was actually in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
She really was in a difficult position and everything was getting blamed on her. And, yeah. Okay, yeah. It looks like it leads to movement because we go in a new direction now. They have to redirect now. And they need to think about it in a different way. So the plan has to change. So I feel like she really did accomplish her goal. She would like it to be bigger than that, but it'll do for her. It'll do. So they are going to move it in a direction and get it, put a fire under these guys' butts. So whoever was holding it up, I feel like she did change the dial, but not radically. But she definitely moved the needle a little.
Okay. So if I were her boss, or if I were the person pumping the brakes and trying to prevent her from doing something, and I would see this move coming out, I don't need Jean-Claude and Janine, the tarot reader, to tell me this girl just fucked me, right? I would know, and I'd be pissed right now. Come on, man. But at the same time, my hands are tied. Now it's out. I have to move. Maybe I'd say, okay, good on you. You played that well, but don't do it again. You'll be fired, right? The question is, who's doing that to her? Who? Is it internally? Is it an external force? Or perhaps even both?
Well, that's a woo card. And this is working on things, getting things out there one thing at a time. I feel like that might be like somebody's working on or trying to do the right thing. I wonder if that's talking about her.
Yeah.
And this is who she's up against here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so some legal situation. There's a legal something. You know how Trump, the White Hat Alliance, are trying to do everything, at least publicly, appearing to be completely legally in good standing.
Yeah.
We've heard that a lot, that they have to do it that way. So this can never be undone again.
Right.
And
Right.
they can never go in these directions. Okay, so they were up against somebody's lawyers or legalities. And think about even the people representing some of those people that they're trying to like get away with their stuff, and or representing some of the people that are actually the abused people, victims. I don't know. It's legal. And we know that the whole legal system is designed not really for justice.
Yeah.
Okay. It's designed to protect the bad guys mostly.
Is it possible on this? Is it? Oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought you were done. There's a little bit of a delay. Keep going. Just finish your thought.
Yeah. I just think with that devil there with the justice. So it's the blocking of justice, and somebody's blocking it with legal paperwork.
Or is it possible, as you said, it's not necessarily blocking with legal paperwork. They're wanting to make sure that they have all their I's dotted and their T's crossed to make sure that none of these guys, swarm out of it on technicalities. They want to have everybody on the hook for justice. But at the same time, if that's that, I'm saying, well, they had many years of this. This is not new data unless there's a ton of new data. And that also appears to be what Pam Bondi told us a month or two ago, that they had truckloads, thousands of documents that were upheld beforehand. So maybe that's the real kicker, is doing the legal stuff on all of this new material that perhaps they didn't even know existed up until 2 months ago. Is that possible?
Yep. So we got that right away when you were saying it. And that can also be a yes, because it's two major arcanas. Okay. And again, wanting to have a really strong situation going forward, so this never happens again.
Okay. That's crazy, right, folks? Let me know. Do you think we're on track here? Was Pam forcing the hand here with this particular news story? It looks like both of them, to me, and now this week, what James put out were contrived. Whether or not James knows about the setup or the controversy, if you want to put it that way, he seemed to be genuinely afraid last week when he put out his video saying he was not suicidal. When Janine pulled cards on it last week, it appeared to be very serious as a heart attack, and that he was needing to take precautions for his life, to the point of him giving that dead man switch, so to speak, to Alex Jones. So this information not new to us, but there still might be elements of this here that they're holding back on, right? Janine, go ahead.
I think there's more. I think he's got another big. I think we haven't even heard the biggest one.
Okay. All right. So let's leave it at that. Let's twist our noodles a little bit for the audience members. We're going to get into the segment. We're going to try to do justice to the video that was presented from Cliff High. I'll try to bring up a synopsis as to how I saw it, understood it. Janine, feel free to fill in the gaps where I'm missing. So guys, if you go to the top of my Twitter page, I've linked both of these videos, the self-revealing noodle twist, as well as the Michio Kaku interview as well. So both of these videos are linked on the top of my Twitter page. You'll find them maybe 4 or 5 links down here just before we started the show here tonight. So essentially what Cliff is describing, kind of taking a victory lap here in terms of his understanding that ontology is speaking to him, speaking to all of us through tarot, through astrology, through what he calls qualias, little messages that universe is actually talking to us, and that we are in fact, this whole experience of ours starts with universal consciousness and then creates matter, as opposed to the other way around, where the gritologist believes that if you clump all this matter together, eventually you'll have evolution and you'll have consciousness. And so the scientists that are coming from the grit perspective are having their noodles twisted now with what they've just discovered, showing them that perhaps Cliff High, as crazy as he might seem, maybe was correct all along in his ontological view of things. Now, So having said that, so let me try to break this down a little bit. So essentially, the Voyager probe series were designed to basically escape the cone that is behind our sun. So our sun is like a meteor through space, and we're kind of like spiraling behind. We've showed those videos before. And so what these Voyager series were trying to do was to go past that barrier at the end and bring back information from outside of our solar system. Now, from what we're being told, not sure if this is accurate or not from our scientists, is that we haven't crossed that barrier yet. But when we did get close enough to it, we did get a signal, and Voyager did transmit that back to the planet. And this is what Michio Kaku is talking about in this interview. He's describing that this data came back. There's a specific chip that NASA was using to decode this information. These are quantum-based computers. We're talking about, what was the first chip called, Janine? Do you know? The Willow chip is the new one, but the one previous that they were using, Sycamore. Sycamore chip, right? And so he's explaining that this information that came back was, in a way, kind of hiding itself in the code to go through all of our parameters to hit our systems. It was also, I don't want to use the word conscious, but it was also reflecting whoever was looking at it. So that's interesting. And it also revealed an image that you kind of see here on the right side of this particular video of what looked like a humanoid, suggesting that a humanoid was looking back at us. So the video, the Voyager probe series, if you watch Star Trek, you know all about this. You understand perhaps where this is going. And Star Trek might have been on the ball with that first movie franchise. At any rate, what came back was a message that transformed itself. It transformed the people who saw the image to the point where it changed the biology of their brain. It wasn't just their mind that was altered by the image, but their brain. And what Michio Kaku is saying here is that perhaps this was an installation of sorts, like somehow you would update the firmware on humanity. And what Cliff is proposing in his video is that perhaps, and it might be too early to tell now, that this new installation has something to do with us reaching a certain threshold of evolution to where in our reality, there are these things that are triggered by these up-levelings. And once we hit those triggers, they in turn up-level us to another degree. Similar to, again, in Star Trek, they typically, the Prime Directive, they don't interfere with humans until they have space flight, right? So there's different degrees of where they can have interaction with evolution. Again, not to thwart evolution. So what they're suggesting in this video is that perhaps that's exactly what we're looking at here. We're looking at a system that was put in place, a trigger of sorts was hit by this Voyager probe, and now this information has come back to self-reveal itself, to basically let us know that the universe is actually watching us. Watch it. So fascinating stuff. Again, I'm making it a little bit short here and condensed because we have a few questions to ask about that. Janine, what do you want to add to that? Have I hit all the notes? Do you think people are following us so far on what the breakdown of this particular information was?
I think you did it perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys following us in the chat? I know this is a little bit complicated, but interestingly enough, the image that came back was also self-reflecting and personalized to everyone who was watching it. So it wasn't as if the code sent a static image of a particular human. It sent the code of a humanoid to be transformed to go through the visual barriers and the understanding barriers of the individual watching the image. So it was like a self-changing image to have the most impact or to have the most effect. Imagine the coding involved in all of that crazy stuff, right? So it's suggesting here that there's life out there, there's life, there's complexity out there, and things we absolutely don't understand. And now what the video was proposing is that all of this has gone dark. NASA is not looking at this stuff. They can't replicate it. The people who saw the image all went bonkers after the fact. Other scientists have been trying to look at this and repeat it. There's a few whistleblowers who are talking about this, but essentially it's gone dark, but we're not sure now if they're not trying to reboot these computers to try these experiments again. And it appears that officials then could be afraid that if they do, they would propagate that installation and perhaps, quote unquote, further infect humanity with whatever this information is. If it's a firmware for humanity, we don't know if it's good firmware, bad firmware. Is it a virus? Is it a up-leveling of our DNA that's absolutely benevolent and for the highest good of of humanity? We don't know. So those are the questions we're going to try to tackle here today. So first, before I go there, Janine, what was your specific question in the Quick Draw Thursday today, and what was your answer there? We'll start there as a baseline, and then I have a few more questions for you.
Okay, I wanted to know what the universe needed us to know about it all around. So if it wanted, like with the slant being, what is this thing? And is it dangerous to humanity? Mm-hmm. And it came up. So the first card I put down was the thing itself, and it came up as a court card, the King of Wands, which is very telling because a court card is an archetype. Okay, so it means it has a personality. It means it definitely has a personality. And then I discussed what that court card could mean. Okay, and then I asked to clarify. So this card here was the King of Wands. And then this card, I wanted to know, is this well aspected? Because that court card, if it's badly aspected, can be a real jerk. Okay, so it was really well aspected with the King of Swords. And I wanted this card to tell us, what did they come here for? Like, what's their intention towards humanity? So this is them, their intention towards humanity. So if this was the devil and, there was a really bad card over here, we'd be in really big trouble. But this card was the King of Wands, who is incredibly benevolent, has a great sense of humor as an archetype, is a very showy, like Trump gets that card to describe him, is sort of obnoxious and in your face about things, very Sagittarian, fiery, fire sign. Integrity is really high on their list if they're well aspected, which it was well aspected. Also a sense of humor and charisma. So they have a very strong charisma. And in court cards, the king is the highest evolution of an energy. So it goes pages, knights, queens, and kings.
And where's the emperor in the court card, the emperor?
So the emperor isn't a court card, it's a major arcana. Gotcha. So the emperor takes it even a step further.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just below the emperor, but still this is high level energy.
Yeah, high level energy that has a good sense of humor, even a twinkle, is very creative because wands are creative, but it's a force to be reckoned with. But it's here to tell some truth. It wants to drop some truth bombs or level us up with knowing something. Or I feel like it could be an upgrade.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll get into some of those questions here. So, caveat also, I have my reservations with Michio Kaku in the past. He seems to be more open now to the ontology model than before. We have to give him some space to do that, just as Joe Rogan was a really big normie when he started his podcast, and look where we are now, right? So we give people the benefit of the doubt. At the same time, Joe is saying, hey, I fear it's fear-mongering here by Michio Kaku, and this is a limited handout. Actually, it's not Michio Kaku's story. He was just answering some questions in this documentary. Many scientists are chiming in on this, on the data that at the time was made available by NASA, and now all of this has gone dark. So he has one opinion, but most of everybody else was on the same page. This was really weird. We can't explain it. It did things that we cannot explain to the viewers. It did things to the actual quantum, the qubit chip that was being involved, the Sycamore chip, also to the point now that they can't recreate it. So there's a lot of weird things that are unanswered, and now all of this has gone dark. And it apparently the officialdom part of it on the planet is trying to erase this from our memory. And what Klafai was saying is that it can't. It's already out there and it's self-replicating. So it's very possible now that it's creating this node, and once 2 or 3 people have this information is recreating itself, kind of like a distributed blockchain, like crypto might be doing. So fascinating in times indeed. So you pulled on this. So we got the character of the information. I want to know now, is this a, as it was being described in those documentaries, a trigger that has been breached by our awareness of consciousness reaching a certain level to where the parameters of our existence was just triggered here to maybe move to the next level. For the longest time, this planet has been in this duality of we grow and then we have the demiurge stamp us down, we grow again, we get the demiurge stamp us down. Are we just about now to level up past that particular part of the game of the matrix, so to speak? Was that what was just triggered here in deep space?
Wow. So this is the magician, but it's incredibly well aspected with the Empress. So the magician is very creative, obviously. Like, see that magician stance? When I really want to make something happen, I do this exact stance. I stand outside and I do the stance. So I'm pulling universal energy, so creative energy with the wand here. And sometimes I even hold a feather to do it, or even several different wands that I have that I just found and decided they were wands. And then I use my other hand. So I'm channeling the energy. So from one to the earth. Right. And that's what he's doing. And he's like consciousness. So when you look at the tarot cards as like this fool's journey through all the major arcana, and lots of people have written about this, including Carl Jung. Okay, not to say he wasn't a big, deep stater, but he also did some really cool things, like they often do. Okay, so this card is like the beginning of consciousness, is one of the ways to describe the card. It's where humanity actually realizes that they're conscious. Okay, so that's interesting, and that's why it's the number 1. Right. So it's the very beginning of our start on the journey. Okay. And the Empress, she's nature itself. So this is very creative, and it works with nature. So natural substance. So humanity's a natural with material. We're material. So it's a consciousness that works with material. So any material that comes in contact with it is going to be enriched, I think, because that's she can be enriched, okay, by consciousness. So nature could be all around, but if no one's noticing it, working with it, acknowledging it, I feel like it's not as powerful, right? So she's a creative life force, the life force of nature, and this is the consciousness of it. And they were saying in those videos, and something Cliff also mentioned, was this energy entity seemed to be looking back at them, was actually watching them. So a big thing they noticed was they were observing it, but it was observing them first.
Right.
Okay, so this could be consciousness observing something it created.
And also the computer's timestamp started to analyze the data. Was it an hour or 3 hours before it received the data? So there's this weird time dilation thing here also that they can't understand. At first they thought it was a glitch, but no, when they looked at the log, it actually started before. So weird things happening there. Yeah, truly fascinating. And which one says, yeah, Cliff's fault of my noodle is twisted too. Yeah, we're all twisted right now. All right. What's the last one?
They're going to start really fear porning with this, or a lot of people are going to take it and spin it in a fear porn way. I actually think wait on that. More is coming, and use your own intuition and instincts about it. I believe it's going to upgrade us physically. I feel like physical upgrades could come through this connection over time. Okay.
And let me bring up, so first of all, this was you at the conference. Yes, guys, disco forever. There you go. John Travolta had it all along. So I wanted to share that with you guys. But no, in all seriousness, let's go back to Safai's video. around the 30-minute mark here, he's talking about this installation in this network of consciousness of humans. We're in that circle at the bottom here. And the question is this self-repeating? Is it self-creating right now? Were they able, by shutting down the quantum computer analyzing the data, to stop the spread, or the fact that it had already installed or infected a few scientists? Are we already in the phase where this is growing right now, whether officialdom wants to or not? What's happening in the background now? Do you want to do 2 clarifiers on that?
Yep. So we've got the 6 of Wands, which is a victory for the woo. So I feel like with this all coming out, certainly in a way it was a victory when I looked at those cards today, because it absolutely confirmed, in my opinion, what Cliff's been saying for a long time about the difference between the gritologists and the ontologists. It's obviously swinging towards ontology.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And even this layout. So consciousness first, and then it's a viewing and maybe even admiring its creation. Maybe we're the creation of this thing that was viewing those scientists.
Yeah, imagine.
So it looks like a victory, and especially for the woo and people in the know. So I'm not sure that even answered your question.
Well, yeah, no, I don't know. I was asking if it was already self-repeating in the background, and whether or not the attempts of officialdom to clamp it down was going to be successful.
It'll certainly strengthen our knowing and those that want to know the truth.
Good. The self-revealing part again. So it's still coming out.
Yeah. And then this card says it's going to take time.
Huh.
This is seeds were planted with that thing. And so I'm going to say yes, but it'll take time.
Okay.
And you have to be willing to know, I feel like, to receive it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in Cliff's video, he's making reference to 2001 Space Odyssey. If you want to see a decode on that, I did one with Jay Widener a while back. It's on beyondmystic.net. He's saying that this image that was received and that was seen by a few of our scientists is equivalent to this monolith appearing here to the apes, forever changing the apes. Now, at first glance, the appearance of this monolith was not good for the apes, because this is the point where they started beating each other up and killing each other with the bones of their victims, right? But that leads to eventually man going into space and exploring the outer boundaries of their reality, right? So is this moment akin to that image we've just received, Janine? And was this perhaps what Kubrick was trying to convey to us, that this moment was perhaps coming for humanity as well? Are we there yet? Because it appeared that he was read in to some of these space programs and some of these discoveries way back when. So was he, Kubrick, trying to tell us here that this was coming? Is this related?
Well, we got two major arcanas in the first 3 cards. So I'd go with yes, and maybe a different way to say it. It'll strengthen as we go forward. It's what we need. Here's what I get in my head, just popped in. It's what we need to go forward. So we're in all new territory for humanity. And it's like we were given the seed of something to balance it. It's karmic and timely. So I've been getting for a long time that it's been karmic and timely that this all happens now. So I guess that's a yes to your question. It's all happening, and it's exactly karmically timely. And it's going to give us the strength we're going to need to go into the new reality, I guess. All new territory. Oh, boy. And also to really understand going forward the other dimensional or even outer space kind of, like where there's going to be a lot of activity and we're going to need this to deal with it. I wonder if this will help us communicate better with these entities that we're going to encounter. And there will be growing pains. There will be, but this card is not as big as this. If this was first, if this was here and that 5 was on the other side, okay, it'd be a lot worse, like what those apes might have put up with. But this feels like, yeah, there will be setbacks and arguing even about it and even about the knowledge of it. But I feel like in general, it's a huge wake up to humanity, and it's preparing us for our next sort of movement into a way higher way of looking at things or dealing with
next evolutionary step, kind of like the 2001 Space Odyssey and the monolith. Wow, fascinating. Okay, we have a special guest for you guys. We have some amazing new giveaways also coming up in just a moment, so don't go away. We have some good prizes for you guys. First up, of course, let me bring up our lovely and dear friend here, Ashala, back to the show. Of course, you can find her, as always, at the consultation page here on beyondmystic.net, and you can also find her now, her and Janine, this Sunday for the brand new Past Lives and Relationships workshop.
Yeah.
Ashala, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm in the background listening to all this and going, wow, does this ever segue nicely into our talking about past lives?
Yeah, okay.
No, it does. It really does. Because when you're talking about the ontology and you're talking about awakening us to that interdimensional reality, right? Like when I think about outer space, I also think about inner space. It's it's the outer is the inner. And the phenomena that we explore when we look at past lives, it's so ironic because I literally just had a huge past life session that took me into time travel, the last session today before I came onto this show. And so, looking at things like time portals, time capsules, this particular individual was literally connected to a lifetime, an earlier lifetime, and they were still there in their energy field. It was as if nothing from 1931 onwards had even happened. And they were concurring that they feel very stuck in the past. Like they really feel like they're in a different, but it just almost like, especially at this stage in their life, they're really tapping into that lifetime. And it's as though that segue never happened, and they're right back there in that other time period. So I feel like this conversation about what an image like that will trigger and awaken in us. And I loved what you were saying, Jean-Claude, about that everyone was seeing something different, unique to their own
perspective,
inner cosmology, their own past life story lineages and ancestral lineages. Like we all have our own lens. And then, you get into those scientific experiments where the actual observer creates a change in the outcome of things.
Yeah.
So this is what we're talking about. It's the, the inner landscape, the outer landscape, and working with past life. It's all about those interdimensional time portals.
So if we haven't twisted your noodle enough, guys, we're going to twist it a little bit more and bring your past lives and relationships back into focus here. What's interesting about the show? So first of all, thank you, Ashala, for being on. Thank you, everyone, for all the beautiful comments. We love Ashala. They were saying in the chat. Excited to have you back on the show. Excited for this new workshop you guys are doing live this Sunday, so people have time to register still here on the Academy. Let me bring up your card deck, Janine, here too, because I want to ask, in the context of what Ashala was just saying now, why is it perhaps important now? What's self-revealing in the ontology we're learning here, that somebody's looking back at us here, and we're trying to get that bigger picture, right? And what better way to get the bigger picture than to understand perhaps all of our previous incarnations that brought us here, so they understand perhaps if we were literally at that step of that next evolution for humanity, we have to make that step knowing all of our past lives as well. So what seems to be the universal timing here, why you guys are so driven at this date as we're doing this video here, this information coming out right now, as to why past lives are so important and needing our attention right now. Janine, wow. Okay.
Yeah, wow. This is a really unique card, and it talks about a person defending their right to be their unique self, defending their personal honor, having a unique approach, and it encourages that you follow your uniqueness and honor your unique approach. I always see this card that way. And this person is defending themselves against all these odds. And also like any naysayers about their uniqueness. Okay. And then really, when you think about past lives, if a person is really honestly looking at themselves and wanting to evolve, they're going to really have to look at where they've been and what created a lot of their patterns, what things are reoccurring in their life. In order for me to come to a place of real self-love, I had to really look at myself and understand, why do I keep attracting this kind of person in my love life? Why do I keep, like, my triggers? Some of my favorite songs are all unrequited love. Everyone, like, I love songs about unrequited love. Why do I love that? Okay. So I had this reoccurring idea in my head that I could never actually have a true love stick around. They're always unrequited. So I would purposely choose. So I was programmed because of my past life patterns and purposely choose people that couldn't really be there for me, yet ignoring a whole bunch lining up there. Not to say I had that many suitors, but I certainly ignored anyone who was actually coming with anything real. So I'm purposely picking over here, but that was all my doing. But I had to self-reflect, look at that, look at my past life patterns to really understand. And in so many different ways, my past life, I had dreams about what me and my mom were like, and it helped me understand and really learn to love my mom, even though we're so different, and forgive her for, you know, some things, like forgive myself in the way I behaved, you know, in certain situations, because I looked at my past lives and really started understanding it, had some regressions. All of that was necessary for me to get to the evolved state, and not to say I'm so evolved, but I'm working on it. Okay. And to get to that place that I am today, and I'm really happy to be here. And I feel like this, even what we were talking about just before Ashella came on, we're going to all need to get to a place with ourselves, because we're about to level up, but we got to get to that self-love place in order to get to that level up. Right. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, it's like, there's no slouching and there's no sleeping right now. Everybody's got to be on their toes and be ready. And yeah, like this card, we're all digital soldiers. We're all spiritual warriors right now, and having all the tools, including past life knowing and understanding our patterns psychologically, what triggers us, is really helpful. So I feel like it's a really timely workshop.
Lots of people agree with you in the chat, and they identified a lot with your story there. Thank you for sharing that, Janine. I love that. I want to ask also, and maybe this can go to Ashella now. There's two things here in my view, why ontology or why universe is wanting us to bring this up now, and why it's important for universe. On one hand, individually, we're being asked to step up, and in order to do that, as Janine is saying, you have to do that shadow work, you have to do that integration, and having a better understanding of those past lives and why you're in those traps right now, those recurring loops, those old patterns, will help you have a leg up before you jump to that next level, which seems to be being presented to us now in that first part of the show here today. On top of that, though, because we're being leveled up, we're not alone in all of this. A lot of us are in relationships, or we're seeking relationships, and understanding people's past lives, your own past life, but our loved ones' past lives also might be absolutely critical right now also to get through this jump together. Whether you're in union or you're trying to be in union, that aspect of the relationship parts of past lives and how they impact us is so very critical right now as well. Speak to that, Ashella, and how is that integrated here into the workshop that you guys are recording on Sunday?
Absolutely. You know, I want to just mention that you said earlier something about people went crazy when they were exposed to that information.
Yep.
And I know, I'm sure, speaking for Janine and myself, like hopefully I can speak for Janine too, I know her pretty well, that, you know, we've had a long, slow process with integrating a lot of this. And I'm able to channel extraordinary stuff with wild out there information, going into past lives, going into timeline portals and all of that. I mean, if I had started doing that, you know, 25 years ago when I was first really learning these skills and doing my own reflective work, I would have twisted my noodle a bit too much too, right? I came close a few times. It was like, oh boy, okay, like back off a little bit here. And that's what I say to people. Like, if it's overwhelming you, just step back and wait till you're in an energy of curiosity. But one of the things that drives us to really want to get better at this is that we see relationships as such an obvious place where we see immediate both fallout from our, you know, like Janine is saying, there's unexplainable things that happen in relationships. We get drawn to the same kind of people over and over again. I've heard stories where people are like, I keep meeting a person, like I keep always going out with Johns or something, right? Or Joes or whatever, right? Like, it's like we have these patterns, and we can see in relationships so clearly how learning and developing these awarenesses, digging underneath the surface. It's not just what's happened in this lifetime even. It's obviously connected. We've been together before. We have a history with this person. And when we see the effect that, as Janine is saying, we can see the positive effect of knowing some of that and working with it. And it's such an incentive, isn't it? We all want to improve our relationships. So I always say, you know, I learned the tarot. You probably remember this, Janine. I was fixated on somebody for, I don't know, a year and a half. Bless his soul. It never worked out. But I was so fixated that I just was at the tarot deck day and night, doing more and more and more and learning, looking things up. And then, I had to learn about our past lives. Why is it like this? And, you know, maybe it didn't quite, you know, create that outcome in that particular situation that I thought was ideal. And yet I learned so much, and I learned a lot about myself. And it did make me a better person in my future relationships. So it is, every ounce that we put into this is making us more resilient, more able to hold all this wild up-leveling that's coming at us. And also it's enhancing our relationships. It's improving the quality of our relationships. So I just see it so like there's no losing in this.
Yeah.
And also like even the ontology and the synchronicities, it's like the more you work that muscle, the more it starts happening. And then you're like, this is so cool. You can't deny it. It's so obvious, right? It's so exciting when we get into that.
It's very exciting. So two things here. Both, thank you for that. I'm looking at it from, I want to add a third element to this. I didn't think about it before the show, but so on the one point, the personal development here, as we're moving up to the next level, to understanding our relationships, having the benefit of those relationships being better served by understanding past lives. Again, the triggers, the personal growth that comes out of that. But two, I want to add, or three, I would like to add, like, I don't want to say the war effort, but I would say the mission aspect of it. A big thing about past lives and being in tune with your mission and being at the top or at the tip of the spear of doing the work that you actually came here to do is being able to recognize the people around you with whom you have those past lives and with whom you have to do specific things to break perhaps old patterns and then to get to the next level. Janine and I recognized each other the first time as we're supposed to do stuff together. And then we realized, we have all this past life, the things that we needed to address. And by doing so, we became this bigger than the parts itself, right? So Janine was good on her videos. I was good on my videos. But when we came together, it's like, oh my God, then the magic started happening and we created this community, right? So understanding who has those past life relationships, those karmic relationships with you, being able to point that out and then do that process brings you that much closer to being alignment with your mission. Again, presumably in what's next for humanity here in this evolutionary step that we're just going through. Janine, speak to that here, the importance, and you described it here also in the description of the course, as if I had it here, how to spot past life connections in daily life and through the tarot. So speak to that and why that's also important, Janine.
Oh, you'll absolutely know. And like when you and I first got together on a video, everybody else also commented, wow, you two are dynamite together. It was like you would inspire me to look differently at put the question together in a way I could never do it. You got that Gemini in there. You also have Libran, where I don't have any Libran in my chart. And your Libran, like I was going in a direction that might, if I kept going on it, alienated a lot of people because I was so adamantly against certain things and getting to be really radical like my Scorpio moon can be. You absolutely level me out a little, bring in the humor. So to get the universe knew you guys have been working together for lifetimes. You need to work together. So this information can come out in a healthier way. I'm better at what I do with you, but I'm not undervaluing, because I know I'm good at what I do, and I know you're good at what you do. But together, like you said, we're better. And well, I knew it right away. I knew right away Ashella was a big thing in my life too, and we stayed in contact all of these years. Her kids or her children are also really important to me. Her daughter Crystal is absolutely touched my heart the minute I met her, and I know my children touched Ashella's heart and her daughter's, also both her daughter's hearts. Like there's intertangled all kinds of people in the truther. Like I feel Mark Atwood's like a family member to me in a way. Like there's people that fall by the wayside that you might work together once or twice, but they don't really make the impact. It doesn't mean they're not good at what they're doing, but we gravitated together in the Beyond Mystic team. And I feel like a lot of us are really working in past life community in the Beyond Mystic teams.
Thank you for that, Janine. And what we're trying to say is this is available to everyone. Those benefits are available to everyone if only you can recognize that and then capitalize on that and do the work, of course. So can you explain, Ashella, I have it on the screen here, what's included, how you've broken down this workshop? You guys are going to be recording live this Sunday, May 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Guys, again, you can check that out on the Academy. And the discount code, is it already on? Yeah, it's already on. So, wow, that's a really good price there, $22, 10% off for you guys. So no reason to not be part of this workshop, and of course no prerequisites. You guys are going to get the full benefit of many years of combined professional and intuitive experience here by both Janine and Ashella. But tell us how you broke this down here and what people can expect with the live workshop here this Sunday, Ashella.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to clarify, I always like to go in with a little bit of basic definitions, a little bit of background history, you know, where do these ideas, these concepts of reincarnation and so on. So we look at that very briefly, and then we're going to get right into the heart of things, like, you know, what are some indicators that you are in a past life connection? Things like Janine was mentioning, you know, automatically there's an up leveling, there's a feeling, or there's a really big challenge, you know, or you're super triggered by somebody. So we're going to talk about the difference with regards to romantic relationships. For example, we have, you know, twin flames, and we have soulmates, and we have karma bonds. And so all of that we'll sort of tease that all apart and talk about individually what that means and how you may be able to be discerning between those different influences and how to work with them. Because we've worked with so many clients, each of us over the decades, who are working with past life relationship, what we call karma, whether it be really activating positive things or really challenging things. And so what are the patterns that we've observed over the years? How have we supported our clients with that? Which tarot cards appear to indicate what things with regards to past lives. So we're going to share that. We're going to share that information with you, and we're going to share with you lots of personal examples of how that has shown up with our clients' work and in our own lives, because we've been doing this a really long time. It's so interesting. Since we decided we were putting this course out, I'm laughing to myself all the time. I'm going like, oh yeah, I remember I figured that out like 20 years ago and it was really helpful. And I don't even notice now. It just is always kind of under the radar that I'm aware of past life work. And this is a gift that I love to share with our community, because so many people are ready. They already have an interest in it. Some of them have already started this exploration. Some of them are quite advanced with it, but there's something for everybody here, because we're bringing all our experience to the table.
I love it. And I think it's a gift that keeps on giving. Of course, Sunday being Mother's Day, maybe a gift you can give your mother as well. And if you can't make it live, of course, on Sunday, you can watch it on replay. It's going to be just as powerful. And of course, in the after show, also in the comments, in the community section for the course as well. Lots there to share with you guys. So please do go and check it out at beyondmystic.academy. The coupon code is already applied there. Past 10, if for some reason it's not, we'll give you 10% off here of the relationship and workshop past life and relationship workshop. So Janine, let's give away some prizes also. You want to do that next? Anything else I'm missing here on the past life before we give away prizes for tonight, Janine?
Well, just one thing I was going to bring up, and we'll go into detail in the workshop, but also past life enemies and people that you need to be aware of. I had some really, really interesting situations in a neighborhood I was living in Calgary for quite a while around past life enemies, people that have actually killed you in past lives, how they did it, and just how to know who's around you. Because sometimes we're really attracted to those enemies. And sometimes the lesson is get the hell out of there. So we'll talk about it's not only just good and go towards some of those past lifers.
Right.
Sometimes you get the heck out of there.
Right. Good advice, Janine. Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, check it out at beyondmystic.academy. Tonight, also, we're giving away this evening for today's show a brand new product offering here from Aline at Floraline. Farm.ca. Of course, we launched the beautiful organic artisan soaps a couple of weeks ago. She's busy fulfilling all of those orders and adding now to the mix. A lot of people are asking, hey, with all these new organic soaps, can we have something really nice in terms of bath salts? That's what everybody was asking for. And she says, yes, actually, she was working on that. So a big combination here of bath salts and botanicals here. Absolutely amazing mixes here. This is a trio available for you guys. If you use the Beyond Mystic 10 as a coupon code here, you'll get 10% off. But we're giving a 3-pack of this to the audience members tonight. Janine, first, why are bath salts so important? So we've talked about why the organic soaps are important, removing all the chemicals from our body, big benefits for the body. Taking a bath salts, of course, has many physical benefits to the body. But spiritually speaking also, why are the bath salts now, including with all these botanicals and these mixtures, why are they so powerful? Janine?
If I could have one bath product, and if anyone's been listening to me from the very beginning, I was always talking about what do I do as a reader all those years. I read daily, just like a Shella, for years and years with a large clientele. It was my day job. Okay. So I never had a day job other than being a reader. That was my day job. And I'm telling you, bath salts every night. So what I would tell all the new readers up and coming and anyone I was teaching the tarot to, I would say you need to have sea salt or some form of, you can make your own, like Ellen is doing here, these beautiful bath salts. And I even recommended some of the herbs and spices that I'm seeing in her salts. Essential oils, you can mix those in per what your needs are. Okay, so different essential oils there's different things assigned to them. They can clear different energies. Okay, so you want to have some bath salts around, and it's a really inexpensive in a way because it's actually a protection tool. So it's and all the world and all the communities in the world, all the indigenous communities, they all use two different things on the regular. You can find it in so many different cultures, indigenous cultures. Sage, and using smudging to clear energy, negative energy, and to protect yourself, but also sea salt. Okay, so making your bath into like an ocean consistency. I like to use at least a cup. So I'm kind of a little bit greedy on the salt, and I'm worth it and clearing my energy. So I worked with people all day. Then I need to clear off their stuff. And not to say they were bad, but they could have been wonderful. But I need to get back to myself. So I would hop myself into a sea salt bath, and I am addicted now. I do at least a tub every single day.
Wow, that's great, Janine. Guys, if you go to floralienfarm.ca, you'll get even more details as to how all of this is mixed. She's mixing different salts together, of course, the botanicals in there, essential oils as well to bring the different aroma aspects to it for aromatherapy. Absolutely amazing concoction. Again, she's a salt whisperer now on top of being a soap whisperer. So check it out, floralienfarm.ca, coupon code Beyond Mystic 10 in one word. Perfect gift, of course, for Mother's Day that's coming up. Granted, you probably won't receive it for Mother's Day. She's inundated with orders as well, but still, they'll get there eventually in the mail. So please do check it out there at floralienfarm.ca. So Janine, let's give away this trio tonight. Do you have a question for the audience members here to give this beauty pack away here?
Yep. What are we moving out of when this card comes up? I will often talk about it as you're moving out of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. More words. Add the words. What are you moving out of when that card comes up?
All right. While we wait for that to populate, guys, if you're looking at some tarot readings and you're looking to get a little bit better insight in your own world, please consider, of course, supporting Ashala here. You can find her at the consultations.beyondmystic.net page. Ashala, what's the current theme right now for people who are booking? Are they more interested in relationships? Are they more interested in finances? What's the theme coming up right now in your tarot readings? How are you helping people?
I have to say that I don't know if it's just me, and Janine, maybe you could concur on this, but it feels like there's a lot of very big questions that are more of a spiritual nature. It, like exactly what we were just talking about at the beginning with the ontology and everything, it feels like people are really asking large questions about their spiritual purpose, where they are in their like life destiny, about their ancestors, deceased loved ones, about just like kind of, are they where they're meant to be, and is there any insights? Like they're really open to receiving messages from their guidance team, and that's one of the things, I always start the session with an overview that lets me tune in to the energies of this individual's guidance team, and I basically receive insights through the bandwidth of the heart that are just designed to be really beneficial and supportive for them at that exact moment, what is most ideal for them to learn. And it's all over, like I want to say in comparison to, let's say, months past, right now feels very, very all over the place. It feels like just a wide expanse of like very deep stuff coming through.
Thank you, Ashala. I appreciate that. We're seeing that also in all of the new viewers watching our shows, judging by their questions and what they're interested in the viewer question shows. So there's a big awakening happening, and it's difficult to go through that awakening. And sometimes we need a little bit of a sounding board, so to speak, to make those better decisions, right? So check it out, guys, on the consultation page. Beyond Mystic coupon code, of course, will give you 10% off. And I have to say, I gifted a reading from Ashala to some of my friends about a month ago who were going through this difficult life process, and they had a very critical question for Ashala. And They were both very skeptical. I have to admit, they're not the typical people who would go for tarot. And when they came out of the reading, it wasn't what they expected, but yet they put it into practice and into focus. And within a day or so, the results that you had pulled through the cards actually manifested, and to the 10th degree. They were absolutely blown away. They wanted me to thank you personally, and they just could not believe it. Their husbands could not believe what just happened. And so you hit it right on the mark, Ashala, and they were both absolutely ecstatic. I don't know all of the details, but they just told me, and they told Sarah, oh my God, this woman, Ashala, she rocks. She was right on. And they had a lot of stress about those those life questions, and they're better for it. I'll say that without sharing their personal details. Janine, you were raising your hand?
I just want to remind everybody, like, do you remember when I was going through that traumatic experience with my relatives, close, like one of them was somebody close to me who was absolutely like basically trying to steal my house, basically. And wouldn't get out of it, like squatting my house. And it was just a horrifying situation. And just so many, talk about past life entanglement stuff. Okay. And I went to Ashala, but I was in the place of so angry and hurt because I'd helped this person for years. I'm really generous. And I was stupidly generous to this person because I still love them, but they hurt my feelings so bad and just totally disrespected me and my property. And, in the middle of it all, I was really hurt, and I went and asked Ashala because I totally trust her input, and I really didn't like her answer. By the way, I was actually mad at her, and I even sort of was kind of curt. She was so nice about it. I am a Taurus ox, and I was like a kind of a bully actually for a minute there, and then of course I had to eat crow, apologize. Because it was absolute, because at first when you're in the middle of it, like, and people have done this with me too, you like her truth was kind of scary because it went a different direction. I was thinking in an ego term, and she took it to a way deeper soul level, and she was absolutely right. So I put, once I cooled down a little, into practice exactly, and did see her absolute wisdom. And I just wanted to tell everybody, she's right on, but you won't always like what she says. Because she tells you the freaking truth. It was brutally true.
That was
turned out great.
Thank you, Janine, for sharing that story. People are always amazed at that story. And I have to say also, I said it on the show, but a big thank you to Ashala and her daughter also, who read for me before the conference. I had a lot of stress, of course, making sure that everybody was safe and protecting during the conference and all that. And they really helped me out before. So a big thank you to you, Ashala. So guys, check it out on the consultation page. Go book a reading with Ashala. You will be better for it. Janine, let's go back to the live chat. Let me know when to stop the feed. Let me go back here. Go ahead.
It was surprising, all right. Now that's interesting. We got the Emperor there. The Emperor. That is very strange. Okay, these two cards indicating man-made. I think we've got a man-made. I think that was something, somebody was playing around with something like, I don't know, Project Bluebeam or something. These two cards, see this, this is a very physical thing. Somebody with some money. This card can be like somebody structured it, but there's a man-made energy to this. There's structure to this. There's with these two cards together, it was probably expensive to do. So that feels like a structured thing. There's nothing indicating alien or otherworldly, weird, right? Or even nature, because these are actually all court cards. So people some people did this. People did this, and I feel like in time they're going to be outed that people did this. So this was created and somebody just wanted to get surprise people or get a rise out of them or start gossip or who knows what they wanted to do. This cost a lot of money, though. There were probably 3 people involved, and it was created somehow and sent up there or projected up there in front of that guy. The guy wasn't in on it, though, it doesn't look like. But I feel like this will be outed down the road. They'll discover, or somebody will uncover who was behind this. But this was something created by humans to kind of trick people, actually, it looks like. Wow. Okay. Or just surprise them, and maybe they just like creating excitement and gossip and drama. That is very weird. Okay, let's look at what's available here. Past lives and relationship workshops coming up. That's Ashella and I, and we're doing that on Sunday, the 11th. Okay, that's going to be fascinating. I believe it's at 4 Eastern. I guess I better find out for sure because I'm on that one. It's a live workshop. And yeah, it's going to be a doozy, you guys, if you're interested in those kind of topics. Really, really interesting. And we're bringing a lot of info to this. Ashella is an amazing investigator. And we're going to bring a lot of really cool information here. And of course, I've been dealing with stuff like this my whole life as well. So yeah, you want to come join us there. And that would be at the Academy. So Beyond Mystic Academy. Wow. And now Elin and her beautiful soaps, she's added this bath soap trio bundle. So she's been busy creating these incredible and very, very, like nature friendly, human friendly products. Okay. And they're all for bathing and cleansing and etc. And she's got these bath soap trio bundles and reusable muslin bags. Like it's going to be something you can use. Like it's not just a one-time thing. Anyway, you want to check that out at floralinfarm.ca. So that's her website. Yeah, check it out. She's got 10% off there. Right on. Okay, now we got a really complex thing we want to talk about here. But I wanted to tackle it because I watched Cliff High. I regularly watch his work because, not because I put him on a pedestal or anything, but actually because my intuition really resonates with this guy's information. Not all of it, and not always the way he spins it. Okay, but this guy's onto some stuff, and we can learn a lot from his information. You better believe it. Okay, and he's a real smart guy. He's way past sort of the levels of intelligence that I could claim to have. Okay, but I do believe I'm very intuitive, and that's where I can make up for it in intuition. But my intuition absolutely tweaked when I heard this. So you want to go watch this when you get a chance. After you're done watching this video here, you want to go watch Cliff High's video. It's called The Self-Revealing Noodle Twist. Self-Revealing Noodle Twist, okay? And man, when he says noodle twist, it totally messes with your mind just listening to what he presents here. And he's citing another video, okay, that he's kind of looking into by a guy named, a scientist and a group of scientists, but in particular, a scientist named Michio Kaku. Now, I'm not sure I'm saying his name right, but this fellow here, and they do a very interesting video. Let's see. Someone is sending data. And it's called Breaking News, Somebody is Sending Data. Now, both of these videos I shared on Telegram. I shared them as well on my tarotbyjanine.com. Okay, so you'll also see them on X. So you can look these up and you want to watch them because I'm just going to touch the tip of the iceberg on this one. It's so deep, but I have a burning question when I watched Cliff High's video. And we're going to start, just to get you into it, with a tiny clip from this fellow here, this scientist. And before we start it, I will just mention one thing that Cliff High wants us to know, okay, when we watch guys like this scientist. This scientist, Cliff says these guys all go with what's called gritology, which is the current scientific understanding that matter is created. It gathers and creates, and then consciousness can create once matter has been created. Okay, so consciousness comes out of matter. And that's a gritology understanding. And Cliff says that's all wrong. Ontology is the way it goes according to Cliff, and actually makes more sense to me. When I first heard this just made sense. Ontology is the belief that everything is consciousness and matter creates if that consciousness wants to create it. So matter creates out of consciousness. Okay, so it's exactly flip it the other way around. So this scientist we're looking at right here, he's a gritologist. Okay, so keep that in mind, and keep it in mind when you watch Cliff's work that he's an ontology. He's into ontology. Okay, so let's have a listen to this guy. Just a little short clip, just so we know what we're looking at here.
What the machine returned was a coherent image, structured, symmetrical, and intelligent. It was unmistakably artificial, and it came directly from data captured by Voyager 1. Michio Kaku, one of the most outspoken minds on the intersection of quantum theory and technological advancement, addressed this anomaly in a recent interview. "We may be witnessing the first whisper of a new intelligence," he said, "something not man-made, not terrestrial, and certainly not random." The image, processed and reconstructed via entangled qubit networks, displayed a figure, humanoid in silhouette, but composed of geometric segments that obeyed no known biological or mechanical pattern. It was...
Wow. Okay, so what he's saying there is that there was a data stream, that's what they call it, sent to, so they're always checking data streams that are coming from these space stations. And a lot of it, they're picking up on space noise. That would be a real simplistic way to talk about it. Okay, but for the sake of this short video, that's what we're going to say. But this was different, as you hear. And if you listen to that again, you'll see that, and if you listen to the whole video, you'll see that this was different than anything they'd had sent before. This is recent, by the way. I think it was in January this was first sent, but correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows for sure. But it's recent. Okay, so the data stream was sent from the Voyager space station, or Voyager space station, to an advanced data chip. And long story short, it actually ruined the data chip because the data chip didn't know what to do with it, and eventually had to be taken down or stopped from functioning. And it was a highly unusual patterning, and actually created a very unusual visual. And when the scientists viewed the visual, it was nothing like they'd ever collected before from these stations. The visual actually affected their minds, and it was like it went through human filters. This is how they describe it. It felt like it went through their filters and got inside their head and started changing the way they were thinking. And so it felt like maybe a hijacking and or somehow an altering was occurring when they viewed this thing. So they had to stop viewing it, and they kept it to a limited amount of scientists who viewed this thing. Okay, because it seemed maybe dangerous. Okay, but it was a consciousness. So they're viewing a consciousness that was sending them signals, and even trying to get in, and even succeeded to get into these guys' heads. Okay, so that is fascinating. And here, let's listen to what Cliff says. So this is just a little tiny bit of Cliff's information, but for the sake of our short video, we're going to listen to 5 minutes of Cliff. Let's hear it.
I think it's much more than that. Okay, so so you have to follow on this, and this is what some of the normies are freaking out over. The anomalies here go to the point that you have to ask: has humanity now been installed or infected by something? And I think it has. I think it's too late for it. So, all right. So this event happens. We get the the picture of the human, and then we have the other humans looking at it, and it's self-altering based on which human looks at it. And the chip breaks down, and they have to shut it off. No other chips are able to replicate this off of the data stream. When they were shutting this one off, there were a bunch of other quantum anomalies that show up, including reactions within greater humanity, statistically relevant at that time, and then the humans that were actually able to look at the image get wonky brain stuff, neural changes in their brain, as though their brain is being rewired, and then we don't hear anything at all about them after that. And this whole episode is just shut down and made tight. No leaks about what's going on. And this is sometime in the past here that this has occurred, right? But if you understand the event stream, there's just been a number of days of duration between the occurrence of this and us here now discussing it, right? But in any event, so they were even wondering in this video that I've linked to here, did the return of the data going back to that PC and to that chip, they say, basically they're saying in there that whatever Voyager encountered knows that Voyager did this and was looking at Voyager and us at the time that this was going on in real time. And they asked the question, how long has this thing, or whatever it is, this effect been watching us? And probably they're just basically, it's the ontology and it's there always, continuously. And it would make sense that the ontology would have structures built into our reality that could be triggered by elevation of consciousness within that reality. And then they would set off a whole bunch of other connections, right? A whole bunch of other aspects of our reality that would be triggered by this as part of the increasing complexity towards novelty. What I think of as up-leveling our coherency, right? Okay, so now all kinds of effects will come from this. We have had an exposure to the ontology. This exposure has been blatant in our face. Then it was brought back to Earth. That's where all this actually occurs, of course. It's where the data and the chip are. The chip breaks down. Other quantum chips can't do anything with the data. Humans getting wonky, time getting wonky, qubits getting wonky, all of it because of this one instance of this thing occurring. And I don't know if they have captured, yeah, I think they actually have two captured images or two captured frames of the image itself. So they have a way of replicating it, and apparently looking even at the image causes problems because it's a super observer effect where it is the observer, we are the experiment, and it observing us is changing the nature of the experiment by changing us. So it's here within humanity now. From the Voyager data, there's nothing that anybody can do about it. The officialdom trying to clamp down on all of this is not going to be successful because it's already out of the box. It's already in the global field of consciousness that is humanity. And probably this is big enough at an ontological level that if we could talk to the whales, they would have some knowledge of what's going on. They're intelligent. They would probably also feel what's going on. So the question arises, is this contact and this trigger responsible for the ontology revealing itself more frequently with the up-leveling of qualia here on the planet? Is this all part of a design process? Is this all part of, and if so, what's the goal of that designed process? And where does it go from here? Now, a couple of things to note. They shut down the Sycamore chip, right? Because it started getting too spooky for the normies. And then we get the development of the Willow chip, another one of these quantum, supposedly AI chips. And by that, they mean, there's AI code that's monitoring the functioning of the actual qubit entanglement part.
Wow. That's a lot to take on. But I really, really wanted to look at what the universe wants to say about this. Cliff's saying basically that it's the ontology making itself known, like long story short, as we up level, we're getting ready to know. So this is why maybe it occurred now, but it's probably been watching us, it being maybe the universe, right? Or consciousness itself. Okay, so we've been watched the whole time and now we're just figuring that out. Okay, so when you look at this thing, it feels like it's watching you. That's kind of what I was getting from that. Okay, and so I want to know what the universe has to say about it. Is that what's going on? Did we level up? Because I really do feel like human life has quantum leaped since 2019. Okay. And a lot of people before that were already quantum leaping. Okay. Especially in this community that's watching videos like this. But in general, the whole truther community has a whole group of people that I believe have really leveled up. And there's other people out there leveling up daily. Okay. So is that why this energy entity is revealing itself now? That's kind of what I'm going for here, and looking at, is it dangerous? So we're going to look all around it and see what the universe wants to say about it. And we'll just keep it to that, because, yeah, it needs way more exploration. I hope Jean-Claude will explore this more with me, and I'm sure he will. Let's have a look. But I was too excited about it today when I watched Cliff's video. So that's the energy itself. Now that's interesting, because that card has come up a lot when you're talking about famous, infamous, and or bigger than life energies, people's, like it's someone who's very known or famous. Okay. But if it's describing an energy, okay, that was a piece of data stream. Okay. It's definitely got a personality. Okay. So it's coming up as a personality, and this personality is not shy. Okay. King of Wands. So you take it in the context of the question with tarot cards. The King of Wands is not shy, is integral to the max. Wands well aspected are integral, and we're going to look at, is it well aspected in a minute here. Has a lot of integrity, has a lot of fire, and also is very much wants to be known. They can be known as famous, and they've leveled up in human life. Like if this was a human, this is somebody who has a lot of charisma. So this energy definitely has like a sense of personality. So that's interesting. Okay, so now here's its intentions. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's an information. This is a truth and integrity card. Really well aspects this. So this energy wants to bring truth and integrity, okay, and wants us to know some truth. Okay, that's interesting, because Cliff was saying it basically takes down the whole gritology thing, okay, and makes what he's been saying for years absolutely true, right? That this, if these cards are true about this, which I'm going with the cards, okay? I always go with the cards. You guys know me. I always go with what the cards say. Now, in the past, we've got the moon. So that's interesting. We've got the moon in the past, which could be deep fog over the situation. So deeply unknown. This was a deeply unknown. This is like sacred information. Notice in the moon card, you've got these two. This was guarded. This information's been guarded in the past for a really long time and kept hidden. Deeply hidden information that now wants to reveal itself. Okay, we weren't ready for it. I think Cliff's right on the money when he's thinking we've up-leveled and we're ready to hear some truths. Okay, yeah. It doesn't seem to have an intention to hurt, from what I'm getting. None of these cards look like it wants to hurt us. The near future, so we've got the Seven of Swords. So a lot of it will depend on who's viewing it. So when you get those gritologists, scientists all looking at it, you'll probably get steered in the wrong direction. Okay, you're going to need people that really are in the know about this, the real truth about how energy is conscious, and everything's conscious, and consciousness is everywhere. You're going to have to already be on board with that. I feel like we're going to get led down the garden path. A lot of people, if they go with the gritologist scientists, there'll probably be a lot of things said about this that aren't true. So we're going to have really good boundaries around that, and really, really look at what's really going on here and stick to what we know to be true. So this guy is really good at gathering things for himself, and he also accumulates and lets things build up. That's why he's so wealthy. He's got land. He's got like grapes growing. Like this guy's, he lets things accumulate, and through his patience and perseverance, he accumulates all the wealth he needs. I feel like it's saying in the context of the question I asked, we will accumulate if we're patient and persevering through all of the BS about this, and with good boundaries towards it, we're going to, just stick really with your intuitive knowing, we're going to know the truth about this. Okay. And I feel like it has a lot of truth to reveal. So this feels like the universe revealing itself to humanity. And that is absolutely amazing. I can't even fathom it. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, for getting through that one with me. I was a lot to tackle, but I just had to do it. I love you guys, and take care. Don't forget, come and see me over at tarotbyjanine.com.
Sao không gọi cho em? Chị gì vậy vậy? Rồi quay điện thoại cho cả Cao Phong và Ngô Minh nhìn. Chị đến rồi, đang đi mua đồ với anh trai chị để đi gặp khách hàng. Chị mặc vậy không lạnh à? Đứng xa xa quay một vòng em xem nào. Cô đưa điện thoại cho Sĩ Tường, nhờ anh cầm rồi đứng xa xa cho ba cái mặt đang chúi vào điện thoại nhìn. Đẹp quá chị ạ. Toàn thấy chị mặc quần áo không ngờ, mặc váy đẹp vậy. Ngô Minh đập tắt khen. Xin anh cầm lấy điện thoại kiểu thành tiếng. Em khen thừa, chị dám chuẩn mẫu đấy. Đùa thôi, chị không thích mặc váy này. Cao Phong đang mặc gót ý. Cậu nên chọn cái khác đi. Cái này hơi hở lưng và sải chân hơi cao. Chí Duy quay điện thoại sang chỗ mình đầu đầu. Anh chẳng bất hợp lý gì cả. Phải hở một tí mới đẹp chứ. Di An cười khúc khúc. Thấy anh trai giơ đồng hồ danh hiệu thì lên tiếng. Thôi chị gọi sau nhé. Anh chị đang đợi không nói chuyện được. Chí Duy dặn dò trước khi tắt máy. Chị mua váy này đấy nhé. Tháng 3 trường em tổ chức dạ hội thì chị mang sang đấy. Cô bước đến ngồi cạnh Sĩ Tường. Cái này được không anh? Nhưng hơi đắt đấy. Anh nhìn rồi, đẹp lắm. Em thay ra đi để anh thanh toán. Còn đưa em đi làm cái tóc rau rù rù của em kia kìa. Đi gió thế đấy. Đắt hội đầu là đẹp ngay anh mà. Đi ra khỏi trung tâm thương mại, Sĩ An vẫn còn muốn mua đồ. Vì ở đây nhiều quá, nhưng anh cô không cho. Vì còn nhiều thứ phải chuẩn bị. Cả buổi cô bị anh lôi đi làm đủ kiểu. Đến tận khi duyệt mắt rồi mới chịu cho cô đi ăn chống đói. Ăn ít thôi, không mặc váy sống. Sao em ăn có ít đâu, mà người vẫn gầy nhỉ? Em không muốn béo, gầy mới đẹp. Mà người em đâu có gầy chứ. Anh không thấy sáng chuẩn và đẹp rồi sao? Ừ đẹp. Nhưng anh thích em béo lên tí nữa. Chứ bây giờ trông như gió thổi sẽ bay đi hết. Ăn xong lại bị anh đưa đi trang điểm. Mặc dù cô đã bảo sẽ tự làm được, nhưng anh không chịu. Về đến khách sạn mỏi nhừ cả người. Cô thả người rơi tự do xuống ghế. Nhưng chưa kịp nóng chỗ thì anh đã bảo cô thay váy để đi luôn. Mặt méo sạch vì hai mắt muốn tìm về với nhau mà phải căng ra cho tỉnh táo. Điện thoại cô đã gọi đến nhưng cô vẫn không nghe để đi chuẩn bị. Vừa mặc xong đồ đã lại bị Sĩ Tường gõ cửa giục. Xong chưa đi thôi? Em xong rồi đây, đợi em tí. Mở cửa ra, cô giật mình nhìn anh mình. Anh có cần phải làm như thế này không? Chị giờ ở nhà, lại lo ngay ngáy. Sĩ Tường cười đưa tay ra cho cô khoác vào rồi kéo cô đi. Tới nơi cũng hơn 4 giờ. Hai anh em đưa thiệp mời đi vào trong. Sĩ Tường giúp cô lên vào áo khoác đưa cho Huy Cường cầm. Vào đến bên trong khu triển lãm, họ trưng bày rất nhiều đồng hồ đến từ các thương hiệu nổi tiếng khác nhau. Cô định đi ra xem nhưng bị giữ tay lại. chưa xong việc quan trọng. Cấm em giờ anh nửa bước đấy. Anh biết rồi. Đi gặp ông khách hàng đấy luôn đi. Hai người được mời vào trong phòng gặp chủ cửa hàng người khác. Anh ta rất trẻ, hóa ra là con trai vị chủ tịch mà ông muốn hợp tác. Sĩ Tường giơ tay bắt và chào hỏi bằng tiếng Anh, nhưng anh ta lại chào bằng tiếng khác. Di An cười tươi khi anh ta quay sang bắt tay mình. Cô chào bằng tiếng khác nhưng anh ta rất ngạc nhiên. Cô biết tiếng khác hả? Vậy thì tốt rồi. Cô là gì của phó chủ tịch? Tôi là em gái anh đấy. Cô giới thiệu rồi quay sang nói lại cho Sĩ Tường và hỏi anh muốn gì. Con gái Việt Nam rất xinh. Tôi đã đến đó mấy lần và thấy rất ấn tượng. Cô Hà đây cũng rất xinh. Nếu có thể, xin mời anh sau đợt này sang Việt Nam. Tôi sẽ làm phiên dịch miễn phí cho anh được chứ. Cô nhìn Sĩ Tường ra hiệu đang tiến triển tốt. Ồ, vậy thì tốt quá. Cô hứa đấy nhé. Vâng, nếu có cơ hội hợp tác cùng anh thì chắc chắn rồi ạ. Mời hai anh em cô vào bàn ngồi, chúng ta bàn lại. Anh ta đưa hai anh em vào phòng làm việc bên trong. Di An khen cơ sở đồng hồ khai trương quá đẹp nên anh ta rất vui. Cả buổi tối cô nói theo ý anh trai mình. Một số thuật ngữ chuyên ngành kinh tế tôi cũng chẳng hiểu diễn đạt cách nào nên cứ theo ý mình nói. Sau 30 phút nói chuyện thì anh ta cũng hứa sẽ sang Việt Nam sau khi kết thúc khai trương ở đây. Hai anh em thở phào nhẹ nhõm. Biết Di An có nhu cầu mua đồng hồ, anh ta đưa cho thẻ VIP giảm giá 40%. Dĩ Tường gọi điện báo cho ông nội, còn Di An đi vòng quanh xem đồng hồ. Mấy cô nhân viên giới thiệu những mẫu vừa sản xuất như cô chưa ưng thế nào. Rider đi ra lấy trong vô xem một chiếc đồng hồ phiên bản giới hạn. Dù rất thích, nhưng nhìn giá thì Di An lắc đầu và không đủ tiền mua. Dĩ Tường đi vào khoác vai cô. Em chọn được chưa? Có ưng cái nào không? Ông đồng ý tặng cái đồng hồ em thích đấy. Di An nói thầm vào tai anh. Có một chiếc rất đẹp, nhưng giá tính ra hơn 3 tỷ thôi. Đắt quá nên thôi anh ạ. Em có thèm giảm giá cơ mà. Cứ lấy đi, mấy khi ông hào phóng đâu. Thật hả, nhưng em tiếc tiền lắm. Thôi, chọn cái khác đi. Cuối cùng cô chọn được cho mình một chiếc, anh một chiếc và mua thêm một chiếc cho ông nội. Cô muốn Rider sang ký hợp đồng, sẽ thấy họ treo đồng hồ ở cửa hàng của anh ta. Như vậy việc đàm phán sẽ dễ dàng hơn nhiều. Sự tiệc rượu xong, Lê được chân về khách sạn cũng đã gần 11 giờ đêm. Tô Đức gọi cho cô không được thì lại gọi cho Sĩ Tường. Anh mang điện thoại sang phòng nhưng cô cũng không nghe máy. Tắm rửa xong không thấy buồn ngủ nên cô ngó sang phòng anh. Anh thò đầu qua khe cửa ý ới. Anh à, đi xuống dưới uống rượu đi. Thôi không uống nữa, mai còn người xấu. Em vào đây đi. Sao em không nghe điện thoại của tôi biết? Cãi nhau à? Dĩ An thở dài không nói gì. Sĩ Tường bảo cô ngồi đợi để giải quyết nốt công việc, gấp máy tính và bỏ hết giấy tờ vào cặp. Anh quay sang gọi điện cho Huy Thường đi mua rượu. Nếu có chuyện gì thì kể đi, rồi anh uống với em. Cô dựa đầu vào vai anh. Em muốn đi Pháp học tiếp. Lần này anh về nói với ông cho em nhé. Em không định lấy chồng sao? Anh thấy tôi biết cũng gần đến tuổi, gần cưới rồi đấy. sĩ An ngồi thẳng dậy nhìn anh mình. Nhưng anh không muốn cưới. Anh cầm tay cô siết nhẹ. Anh đã suy nghĩ kỹ chưa? Anh hỏi thật, tình cảm của anh với cô Đức thế nào? Nếu yêu cậu ấy thì anh nên cưới đi. Tối qua, em nhìn thấy Tô Đức đi với một cô bé sinh viên, nhưng em chỉ thấy tức một chút thôi. Anh ấy muốn lên giường với em, nhưng em không đồng ý, thế là cãi nhau. Khi nhìn thấy như vậy, trong lòng em có đau không? Đặc biệt là trái tim em có thấy khó chịu không? Thực sự em không